good place to start. You know, why did you create Mod Sanctum?
Because I started to see that there was a need for a place where people could upload files and not be afraid of whether or not their opinion was going to get them banned. Mm-hmm. Because you start to see that, right? And the last straw for me really was, you know, what everybody refers to as Nexus. You know, 2 years ago, the great Nexus, you know, 2 years ago when they announced all of their policy changes and everybody freaked out and tons of people pulled their mods. Believe it or not, you know, one of the questions on your list was what I thought I could think about collections. Mm-hmm. I personally have never really had a problem with them. I used to work with the Wabbajack. I would actively do things to help them support my mod on their Wabbajack mod lists or whatever you call them, right? Mm-hmm. Because I personally didn't see a problem with it. I saw it as more exposure for myself and more people, ultimately, you know, more people enjoying my mod.
Yeah, absolutely.
I make my mods for me primarily. I think most modders do. They make it for themselves, and then they share that with the community. Sometimes it gets a little bit out of control, and I think some people deviate from that and they start making them for other reasons.
Of course.
You know, and there are other legitimate reasons. I think a lot of mods are made by people that are looking to be hired by a game company.
And that's applicable. I mean, we just saw Eleonora.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely it is. A lot of people get hired, and deservedly. Right? Mm-hmm. If that's a word.
No, it is. And it should be. It should be that those people, the ones who actually care about the game, you know, they should be the first pick, right?
And ultimately, you know, the modding community, it is the largest creative force in gaming there is. I mean, look at the evidence. PUBG, 5th most sold game of all time. That was a mod.
Gary's mod.
Well, there's Gary's mod also, you know. But PUBG in particular, like the history behind a lot of that genre of game all comes from another mod, DayZ.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, so DayZ launches and suddenly the zombies gaming craze is ignited. Tons of, you know, smaller indie game companies are starting to make, you know, not only zombie games, but survival games, right? Mm-hmm. Another genre basically launched and popularized. I'm not going to say that he invented it. There were other, you know, mods out and things out that were happening in that scene, but DayZ popularized it enough to where suddenly the AAA companies are coming out with what? Survival mechanics.
Right. Rust. Yeah.
You know, and zombie themed games, right? And then what happened? Somebody took DayZ the mod. They said, you know what? Let's get rid of all the zombies and have everybody parachute down. Battle Royale, baby. I mean, that's PUBG. That is PUBG, basically. You know, Player Unknown was a modder. So I think the big gaming companies are starting to catch on to that.
Yeah.
You know, and so that is another reason why I started Mod Sanctum, is because I saw that there was more than just uploading files, right? I saw that there's people that are trying to use this as a career.
Course.
They're trying to use this, not necessarily making money off mods, and nobody's delusional about that, right?
I don't know.
They're looking at it. There's a few, yeah. I mean, if you're from China, it seems like you can make $50,000 a month off mods.
I wouldn't call it an app.
But the point being, people are using it as a stepping stone. Right? Like, hey, look at my portfolio. I've got all these mods that millions of people have downloaded. Come and, you know, hire me. And people are being discovered through that method, right? So I felt like there was an opportunity to take that further, right? And to make a nonprofit organization that could help promote modding as a stepping stone, as a career entry point to game development, right? Because there's a lot of modders that I mean, I believe all modders are game developers, just at a different level.
So. I mean, especially the top ones. I mean, KingGath, he absolutely is a developer.
Oh my gosh, how could you argue otherwise, right? I mean, come on, look at the end product. It's better than the story in the game.
I agree.
From what I haven't even gotten all the way through the first chapter, but man, the quality is unbelievable so far.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully I can get through all of it. I got a lot on my plate right now, but
I feel you.
You know, just the trailer alone is, it's awesome. I mean, and I've been through enough of it to where I'm riveted by the story. The dialogue is great. It's as good or better than Bethesda did themselves.
Yeah, story-wise for sure.
Yeah, and when you're bought out by Microsoft, you know that they're not going to stop hiring any quality game developer they can find.
Absolutely.
They want to come out with a new game every other year every year if they can.
Yeah,
right?
I think they're saying every half or quarter. Yeah, there was something crazy.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and this is all because of Microsoft, of course. They've got an app ecosystem to build and to keep active and lively, right? They didn't spend $7 billion because they are fans of Skyrim. They did that because they see this as a cash cow that it is, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I see all the criticism from a lot of gamers about Starfield. And, I mean, I understand it from the perspective of someone who maybe doesn't mod. Yeah. It's a subpar game, compared to, say, Baldur's Gate 3 that just came out.
But that's also people who don't remember what Skyrim or Fallout 4 looked like before mods were on it.
Exactly. And those are people that if they pulled up Skyrim or Fallout today, or they saw my install with 1,000 mods in it, they'd be like, holy cow, this is the same game? That's really the power behind any Bethesda game. Anybody that is a hardcore gamer that has played this studio's games before, we all understand and knew what this was going to be before it even came out.
Yeah.
Everybody that is a modder pretty much knew this was going to be Skyrim in space with some cool new tools and some engine upgrades. And then they were going to do the same thing to Fallout and Skyrim again. Another engine upgrade because it's not a meme, because it's not true. I mean, Skyrim is released how many times now?
God, Legacy and Special Edition. Yeah.
And you know what? It sells every time. It sells every single time, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, if they kept mods the same way that they're doing now, and they wanted to not cash in on that, and they wanted to take $20 from me every 2 years, fine. I don't care. Take it.
Yeah, I mean, people joke about Skyrim selling again, but the fact remains is it sells again.
Yep.
They do the engine upgrade, and it sells out. If you can sell out of software.
Oh, and it's still cheaper than The Division, where you're going to be paying for seasons and crap. It's the perspective is a little skewed for how they kind of treat Bethesda studios.
Yeah, and if you look at Skyrim right now, guaranteed Saturday right now, there's 25 to 30,000 people playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
Right? Same for Fallout. And some other games, DayZ. That still is alive. That's its own game now. It didn't just start multiple game genres. It's now its own game that's also modded.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's it, because you can't just hire that many resources when you have everybody out there who wants to create something. Someone picks it up and does it. I mean, that's someone getting paid $60,000 to $100,000 a year to do what that guy just did in a mod. You can't keep up with that.
Yeah, and that's why I say that the modding community is really the biggest creative force, because they're the ones not getting paid and they know it. Right? And so all the experimenting and all of the playful mods and the crazy things and the things that, the developers aren't thinking about because they're singularly focused on their task and they're compartmentalized into oblivion, no pun intended.
Do you want to give a brief description of what Mod Sanctum is for those who don't know?
Yeah, sure. So Mod Sanctum is a modding site and community site built by modders for modders. I like to put it that way because it was born out of the need for something else. Tons of people have been complaining about not having an alternative to Nexus.
Right.
And I'm not under any delusion that we're going to put them out of business. That's not going to happen. Okay. But we will provide an alternative for people that are more inclined to want control over their mod.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have put a lot of time and energy into their project. They don't like the idea of uploading it to the site, and not being able to delete it. Because in the end, who owns it if you can't delete it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some mods I will probably still put on Nexus myself, things that I didn't put a lot of work into, and I don't really care. And so, hey, here you go. Maybe I feel like it'll help the community as a whole more. Right.
Tools.
But anything significant that I put a lot of time into that I just don't want to lose control over, then it's definitely going to be going on, Mod Sanctum. And so that's what it is in essence, is it's a mod upload website. But because of my own personal underlying goals, which are to help promote modders, right? I want to help modders get more exposure and more attention so they can fulfill whatever goal they're using modding for. And if that is to get a job with a big company, then I want to facilitate that. And so one of the big ways that we're different than any other modding website is on Nexus, when you upload a file, you can put other modders in there, their name, but if you notice, there's no link. It's just text, right? So there's the uploader, and then there's text for the other people that may have been involved, or maybe they're listed on the description somewhere.
Right, like the thanks to and appreciate using these assets, that kind of thing.
Yeah, what I'm developing is when you upload a mod, you attach anyone that's a member of the site that helped, you can attach them to the mod as a contributor. And so then when we do all the point allocations and the gamification and badges, because there's a lot of achievements and rewards and all kinds of cool stuff that we're doing on the site. I wanted everybody to be able to rank up, even if you just wrote a script for a mod. That mod author puts you on there, lists you as a script writer, boom. Now you're getting points for the activity that mod produces. And so the idea is keeping track of all this data, and people are ranking up and earning achievements and unlocking badges and all that stuff. At some point, you'll be able to go and say, hey, look at all of the things that this person has contributed on, creating textures or doing this or doing that, right? Maybe it's a voiceover.
So like CCC for modders, kind of in a way.
Yeah, it's it's just a way to say, hey, here's the uploader. He's the person that uploaded it, and he's the author, potentially, especially if he's the only one listed on it. But maybe there's 15 other people that also contributed. And so from a programmatic standpoint, I wanted to have connections made between mods and all the people that contributed on the mods. That way, because there's a lot of people like voiceover talent that are amazing and they get zero attention. They get zero. There's no ability for you to go to Nexus and go, you know what? I need to find a really talented voice actress or a really talented voice actor.
Yeah, who worked on this?
Right?
Who worked on that?
Exactly. How do you parse the data from Nexus to find someone like that? You can't do it. You'd have to tap into their API and, to run some massive scripts on their site and do some farming of all the data with, it would be ridiculous.
It's the same for joining the mod team. If you want to, their information, where you can apply. Because I know a lot of these people I've talked to, modders are always looking for people. who are interested.
Yeah. So the goal is to create an automated system that as people are uploading mods, they're making these connections, or they're going in and editing it. Maybe somebody steps in later and they're helping. Hey, I'm going to add you to the mod. Boom. You're now a contributor. Done deal. And now every single time that mod gets downloaded or upvoted, right, then anyone involved in it earns points.
Right.
And I think that that's a much more fun, primarily.
Right.
I'm doing this to have fun. I mean, let's just keep it in a perspective, right? I want this to be a fun experience too. This site, we're all here to play games and to mod games, and I want to keep it fun. I want to keep the environment fun. So that's part of the gamification. Add a little bit of competition in there, make it fun. I'm making, a system where you can share, your points with other players. So you can tip people, or you can, buy them buffs, which give them full membership access to the site. So you can in essence, buy people membership time, stuff like that. So I'm working on a lot of that stuff right now, kind of trying to polish all that up and get a lot of that in place.
Oh, and that leads to the next. Where are you at in the development? I know you had like different phases.
Yeah. We're trying to finish up phase 1 right now. And phase 1 is essentially most of the core functionality in place and functioning and bug-free. And then the next phase 3, we're in phase 2. Phase 3 is more work on the support area, which is a lot different than on Nexus. And this is another big change that we're deviating from the way Nexus does it. If you notice, and anyone with a lot of mods is going to understand this. When you have 30 or 40 mods and you're trying to check support on Nexus, that's 30 or 40 different pages. So most people have just said, I give up, and they've moved to Discord. And so they have their support in Discord, and that's where they handle it all, because it's easier to support 50 or 100 mods when you have your own Discord server.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have your hotkeys are recycling. What's your problem? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, totally. It's so much easier and it's mainly because it's all consolidated in one spot. One of the things that I'm doing for phase 3, this is what I'm trying to get done. This is more in phase 3, and phase 3 is more also where it's open to everybody else. More of an open beta, and hopefully this is also when we have the server upgrade, so it'll be a lot faster. Like right now, it's not on the greatest server, and we still have some optimization left to implement. So it's like an early access game. It's going to be slow, mainly because we got a lot of gamification going on. When you got people earning points and badges and all that kind of stuff, that causes a more drag on a server than the average website. So phase 3 is also an effort to upgrade the server and get us to where we're on a much more powerful infrastructure that can handle this type of website for millions of people. Right? Because we do know that there's going to be a lot of big modders that bring in millions of downloads. The community is small enough to where people will find Mod Sanctum. I haven't worked on any promotion at all yet. I've tried to kind of keep it low key for the most part, just to keep the server
from blowing up. I mean, because it's 1 billion downloads just on Skyrim,
Totally. I mean, look at how popular the downloads have been already. Right. And so Mod Sanctum is a little different. You can't upload mods right away. You can't just sign up and then immediately go and upload mods. You have to actually rank up a little bit, which I think is going to help filter out not just spam, right? Like what spammer is going to go through all the trouble to rank up so he can upload mods and spam and then immediately get banned.
Right. That's true.
Not a very time effective, measure of trolling us. So I don't see that it would happen on our site, but also it's to ensure that anybody who's uploading mods, fully understands the process and how the site works, and we've gotten to know them just a little bit at least, right? And so they've had to fill out their profile and just it's not going to be an egregious ranking process. It's not going to take people months. I'm going to have it to where you can accomplish this within a few days or even maybe a week of just interacting with others on the site. And then you'll have access to upload mods or follow a few different ranking paths that we have set up. And these are essentially to guide people through each role that there is in the modding community. So for example, let's say you wanted to be a voiceover. Well, there's going to be like a quest on the site where you can follow the quest, and it essentially walks you through everything that you would need to do to get into being a voiceover for mods.
Sound levels and whatnot. And
yeah, all the equipment maybe. Now, I'm not a voiceover person, but this is something, if you are a voiceover and you want to get involved with Mod Sanctum and help, this is a course that I need to make, right? Is to help people get into being a voiceover talent. And so by setting it up in the form of a quest, it's just a path. It's just a guide. It's just guiding you through the process. And so it's going to involve, mostly watching a video series on Mod Sanctum. And I'm building a whole section of the site that is a big app that delivers videos in the form of courses, similar to lynda.com, where you can go there and you can pull up a course and it's got topics and lessons and everything's organized and everything in there. Right now, we've got KingGath's video series on there. So that's one of them that we're going to be launching with. We got the permission of KingGath. Yeah, it's one of the best series out there, right? But we're going to expand on that, and we're going to chop up these videos into like little 5-minute portions. So you can search the database easier to go directly to the things that you want to learn. And so the video learning center, I'm hoping is going to be really, really popular, because we're going to try to consolidate all the videos that you would have found on YouTube or that other authors make, and we invite them to come and upload them on Mod Sanctum. Now, you upload them to YouTube and then post them on Mod Sanctum, right? But when you do it, you are creating really organized courses on the website that will be much easier to follow, right? And hopefully, if done right, I want it to be where you can actually, when you're uploading a course, you can pull videos from other people's courses that they have made to create your course. So maybe you only need to add, let's say you're making a course on how to make a spaceship mod. But all you need to teach is a small portion of the videos. Lots of the other content people would need is already available on Mod Sanctum somewhere.
Right.
And so when you make your course, you'll be able to pull from those other courses and say, you know what, let's add this in. This is a good video. We'll make this a requirement, and we'll make this part that KingGath did a requirement. And so your course could end up being a set of videos from 4 or 5 different mod authors that have uploaded videos. Right?
So yeah, you can have like a section for those type of tutorials, like Dark Fox or KingGath, and then people pick and they're like, oh, I like this voice. I like how he teaches it. Let me just follow his course through.
Yeah, it's a more task-oriented approach towards coaching, because instead of saying, hey, learn everything there ever was to learn about modding, that's daunting. There's too much data, right?
Yeah.
But if you're, say you are a asset creator, you heard about modding, you want to get attention, you're curious about it, you're a master at meshes and textures, right? But you don't know how to make a gun mod. You don't know how to put it together as a gun mod. So that's a specific task. That would be a course, how to make a gun mod for Starfield. So it's like a very specific thing you're doing. You're not learning everything there is to know about modding. There's no quest. There's no new world or, randomly generated whatever. There's none of that. There's just this. And so people, by approaching it that way, people should be able to zero in on learning exactly what they want to learn a lot easier, right, than trying to watch what sometimes are very long videos. My goal is to try to chop it up into smaller portions that are more like modules. And then you can just take this module and you can apply it to any other course. Maybe one module is installing the creation kit. Like that would be required for practically every mod, right? or installing Xedit. Some of the basic fundamentals, in other words, once those fundamentals are there on the site, other modders will be able to pull from those videos, right?
Yeah.
To kind of finish their course. So that's one area that I'm working on. And then another thing that we're going to be doing is a career center. And this is kind of where I want to tie it all together as the end result. You're a game company, you're looking for talent, or you're a mod author and you're looking to collaborate with other modders possibly, right? Or maybe you want to have
that mesh guy. You want the guy who just knows meshes.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe you just need a favor done. Maybe you just need a script written. And so the Career Center is going to have an area kind of like Fiverr, where you can go and sign up and open up your own little task marketplace where you will do things for people for a certain amount of sanctums. That's the currency on the website, right? Or love tokens.
Love tokens?
Like,
I think that's
love
right?
tokens are also a currency on the site, is love tokens. Those are the way the currencies work on Mod Sanctum are this. So anything that you get upvoted for, you're getting love, baby. You're getting love tokens, right? So you get upvoted for something, you're getting love tokens. If you upload content, I'm paying you sanctums. So that's a direct earning of sanctums by uploading new content to the site, okay? And those sanctums can be used to purchase membership time. So if you're contributing and uploading content and earning sanctums, or earning a lot of love tokens that you can then convert into sanctums, okay? So there's a conversion utility on the site. Once you get love tokens, you can convert them into either sanctums or experience. So you can use it to rank up, or maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you want to buy, a membership buff to give you a full membership where you don't see the ads or the pop-up or any of that kind of stuff, right? There's a way for people that are contributing to earn all of the full features of the site without paying anything. And I wanted to do that because I feel like the people that are uploading the content, they're the ones that are helping the site, right?
Absolutely.
And I can't pay them in USD yet. Eventually we'll do some kind of payout thing when we stabilize and we're earning money and we know how much we can pay out. There may be something we can do. But in the meantime, this is how we can make it easier for modders that maybe don't have a job or they just don't want to pay. Who knows? Whatever. But if you're uploading content and you have a mod, you won't really have to pay. Right? You'll be able to just buy these buffs. Or, if you're a popular modder on Nexus, you only need to just link me your profile. And I'll give people a veteran mod author badge. And that'll allow them to immediately start uploading mods as well. So there are people that, just don't want to do the whole ranking up thing. And that's fine. Just show me that, you've done some work before. If you link us your Nexus page and you've got a bunch of mods on there, we'll give you a veteran mod author badge. And then you can immediately start uploading mods and do your thing, right? But each path, right? Like I talked about the voiceover thing, right? Where if people want to be a voiceover, there's a quest for it. I've done a whole bunch of them. I did one for creator. And so there's going to be a quest, how to be a content creator in general. This is someone who's just participating in mods. They're making scripts. They're making assets, meshes, stuff like that. They haven't uploaded their own mod. Maybe they don't care about doing that, but they work on projects. There's a path for them. YouTuber. YouTubers are a very important part of the modding ecosystem.
Sure. Juicehead has brought so much attention to a lot of mods, kind of where I came from in this, of getting a little closer to the actual mod authors.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I want to do on Mod Sanctum is there's a whole spotlight area. So when you unlock the YouTuber rank, you will be able to upload spotlights to Mod Sanctum that will show front and center in a special area that's just spotlights of YouTubers, right? And so essentially it's an all consolidated area where they can get even more attention. You know, I mean, of course, they're still uploading it to YouTube. So they're just pasting in a link. Mm-hmm. They're filling out a little form, pasting in a link, using the same description and everything else that they put on YouTube. So it literally would take them.
They're getting their views.
Yeah, it would only take them a couple seconds to put up an entry on Mod Sanctum. But what that does for us is that, you know, that gives us a little bit more exposure, right? But it also, it's helping the YouTuber. It's giving them another place where they can get some additional exposure from people. You know, maybe people are on Mod Sanctum and not on YouTube. Now they see your video, right? And you'll be able to associate that with the mods that you're featuring if they're on Mod Sanctum. Mm-hmm. So some of them, of course, won't be. They'll be on Nexus, right? But if they are on Mod Sanctum, then, you know, we want to encourage YouTubers to come and participate as well. That's the whole point, right? Is that you can rank up on the site as a YouTuber. Because if you are posting your spotlights and people are going to that page, then, you know, you're getting a lot of upvotes, same way a mod would get. Mm-hmm. We're trying to include...
It's like the advertiser's wing.
Yeah, I'm trying to include all of the different people in the modding community. I may fail miserably. None of this has been done before, right? Mm-hmm. But, I'm giving it my best shot to try to give something to the community that can be, you know, an alternative to Lovers Lab. You know, a normal modder doesn't necessarily want to upload their stuff to Lovers Lab as an alternative. Let's be honest. They have their niche.
Yeah, they do. And they're you can download, I mean, you can upload anything you want. They have that.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a 52-year-old guy that's been modding these games for 15 years or so has never been to Lovers Lab. You know, I've been on the site a couple times. Yeah, I've been on the site a couple times. I know what they host. You know, I'm sure it's a big reason why Skyrim and Fallout have maintained popularity.
Sure.
There's a lot of those mods, you know, MXR. I mean, how many Sloot videos has he made over the years that are tons of Lovers Lab mods, you know? Oh, yeah. And people have asked me if we're going to allow those on Mod Sanctum, and to a point, you know.
You may just need another section for 18 and over proof, and then you can just
I'm working on that, actually. We've got a button on there that you can filter out all of the NSFW mods. I would like to eventually hook this up to AI and automate it, because you can actually automatically detect any boob shots and just NSFW them. Because I do believe in keeping it kind of clean. You know, I mean, kids
for your average user, of course, right?
Yeah, kids play video games too. Let's not
I've heard about that.
You know, I mean, it's like people lose sight that there are some little kids that are on these sites. Mm-hmm. So you got to be careful, and you got to keep that stuff locked down. So we will be, you know, we're going to be allowing some of that content, but not anything extreme. There are probably the same limitations as on Nexus in regards to adult content.
Got it. So Lovers Lab will still be there.
Yeah, I don't think Nexus doesn't handle that. I think they handled that part fine. Mm-hmm. You know, the adult issue, I think they could keep it off of their front page.
Yeah, that is true. You have to actually go in there and change it to.
Yeah. We'll have the adult. We'll have the NSFW probably disabled by default, and then you'd have to go in and enable it and say, you know, I am 18.
Right.
Basically, you know, something like that in order to disable it. Some of these features are still a work in progress, because I do have a full-time job while I try to do this.
Yeah, that's important for people to know out there, is that all these things are passion projects. Even Nexus started that way too. You know, it's just... It is. And it's been a long time. I'm sure a lot of people have been like, holy cow, how long is it going to take to make this stupid website? But, you know, I want to do it right. I don't want to release a faulty product. And there's a lot of things that have never been done before, by myself at least, but definitely not in our community. We don't have a gamified social network around modding. Right. And that's essentially what
Mod Sanctum is. It's ultimately, in the shortest description possible, it's an ecosystem of apps that will facilitate all sorts of things that modders are going to need. Like the support system, for example. Tons of people complained about the support system on Nexus because, the 50 different pages issue. But on Mod Sanctum, what I'm doing is on your mod page, there's a button, Submit Bug Report. You click it and you're forwarded over to support.modsanctum.org. And that mod is automatically loaded into a ticket that you submit for the mod author. That ticket goes to him, and it's tickets coming in from every single mod that he has, all in one spot, right? And on there is a bug or is not a bug option. If it is a bug and he pushes it out, what happened? Well, it's still under development, but what'll happen is that ticket will then be public and other people can see that it is a bug, and that person that submitted it will get points. He'll get sanctums and experience and all kinds of shit. Okay.
Right.
Because I want to motivate people to submit accurate bug reports. However, if it's not a bug, he doesn't get any points.
You charge him.
Yeah, you don't get points for being a shitty modder. I'm just playing. No, I mean, let's be honest. As a mod author, I'm not saying this shitty modder. That's way too harsh. Okay, it's the bottom line is that it's a very complicated thing. You're dealing with sometimes 50 or 500 mods, right?
Yeah.
And so there's so many moving parts. It's nobody's fault, really. Often it requires investigating with the mod author to discover that it's not your mod, right? Yep. And so often it's not a stupid bug report necessarily. It's just not a problem with the file, right? And so they don't deserve to get any points for that. And also, of course, you can't have anybody trying to game the system. Like, hey, upload thousands of things that aren't bug reports, and I'll just deny them all, and you'll get tons of experience.
Right.
So we don't want people doing that, right? And so that's why the ticket is published to the front and made public if the user is awarded points for it. But then also people can discuss it if they want, but people know that's a bug and it's published. If the author says this is not a bug and publishes it, then it goes out to the same public, but it's listed in a different section that's not a bug. And now this user can continue to get help from the community, possibly.
And would there be like a multiple button? So like, let's say 4 people do the same one, they can go all under that link or something. So you can kind of like look and see, oh, okay, my bug report's the same as this one kind of thing.
You know what? That is a good point. We're going to have to bake something like that into the cake, aren't we? So that'll need to be something that we do where we add in what happens if multiple tickets for the same issue. Now, what we're going to try to do is prevent that from happening in the first place. And that is that inside that same ticket, there's going to be a known issues button. And what the author will be able to do is click that and add a new known issue that will automatically be associated with that mod and will display by the change log on the mod page. And then those known issues would automatically link back to the post that actually created the known issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So before someone even posts a bug, hopefully they will see the known issues list first. And we'll probably just make it to where they have to verify that they've read the known issues list before they submit a new bug. But what this does is it takes a lot of stress off of the mod author. No longer do you have hundreds of erroneous bug reports that aren't really bug reports, but you got to still go in to the page and clean it up, or you have to completely disable it. Most people have opted to do that. Is just disable it and handle it all in Discord.
And that's like one, work with sim settlements when it's just such a big thing that we have people that are on the forums that just kind of comb through and pick up like ones that seem legitimate, and then they'll bring it to in-house testers, just because you can't keep up with Nexus, you can't keep up even with Discord. Just to have the amount of people to siphon through so much garbage. I like the idea of having almost a class for people before they even bug report. having some framework of how you say something's wrong correctly. You got to give information that can be helpful. You just saying, oh, it crashes here. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, this is all part of the player quest line. I call these career ranks. Okay, this is what I personally call them. I haven't found a better name. If anybody has a better name, hey, shoot it out there to me. But the career ranks are essentially, each one has 4 total ranks in it. The first rank is like everybody is just natively part of. Everybody's rank 0, basically. And then the first, second, and third ranks are basically, the first rank is where it unlocks the ability to do certain things on the site related to that career. So if you unlock the author career rank, that is going to unlock the ability to upload mods. If you unlock the player career rank, that's going to unlock the ability to upload bug reports. But in order to do that, you have to do a quest. And part of that quest is actually to watch the tutorial videos on bug reporting. Which will outline things to check, things to look out for, how to properly submit it, right? All those things, And so by the time I'm done, I'm hoping to have the site set up in such a way to where you literally can't do it wrong, right? Like you're kind of ushered in with tutorials. In order to do things on the site, you go through a process where you're learning how to do it first, because there's a lot involved. There's earning points along the way. There's the ability to tip other modders eventually. I've got it on there now on the mod pages. You can actually tip sanctums to your favorite modder. So I want the tutorial videos are dual purpose, right? One is to teach people how to do it right, but also to ensure that people know all the features that are available to them on the website. The shortest way to do it, little tips and tricks, stuff like that, and it'll just make people's lives a little bit easier on a site that's fairly complicated.
Yeah.
If you look at Nexus, it's pretty complicated, actually. When you start reverse engineering what Nexus has done and you start diving into all of the features that are on that site, it may seem simple on the surface, but there's actually a lot going on there.
Oh, collections alone is insane. Yeah.
Yeah, not just the collections, though. Look at collecting all the statistical data and showing the users all their stats, right, on the downloads. When you look into the tags.
Use uploads.
Yeah, tags are all user generated. There's actually a lot going on that site. The automatic downloads, that's actually one of our first goals, believe it or not. Mod Sanctum's number one goal, my number one goal right now is, to finish the site primarily, but a site is almost never done. You get to a launchable state and then you keep improving it forever.
Yeah, I mean, Nexus is, of course, improving too, and Lover's Lab, it's just never ending, especially with the tools of AI tools that can possibly come to help. Yeah,
but one of the first things that we will be doing is going to be the one-click downloads, automatic downloads. Honestly, that's been their advantage.
It's the way to get people into modding.
That's been their advantage for a long time. And I think it's about time that somebody's able to also have that advantage.
Yeah.
And I've reached out to Mod Organizer guys. I understand that it's a open source project. I don't want to do a fork. I would rather us participate in a more active role and create a plugin for Mod Organizer 2 that implements that for Mod Sanctum. So that's what we're going to be working on, is that. And we're also going to be working on trying to do something for multiplayer games. It's why we brought DayZ over and that crowd. If you notice in our channel, we've got a lot of DayZ players. And those all come from ZedMag. He's an old friend of mine from the DayZ days.
The DayZ days.
When we used to mod DayZ. Yeah, the DayZ days. When we used to mod DayZ. And so I felt like DayZ was a perfect mod to try to develop a modding plugin, possibly for Mod Organizer, that can allow you to load into a server, right? Imagine in Mod Organizer 2, another tab that lets you launch your game into a server. And that server would go, hey, what mods are you running? Oh, these are the mods. Go here, download them all first. Boom, now you're loading in. right? That's how DayZ works. If you've ever played the game,
yeah, it's been a while.
When you go to load in, it detects the mods that you need and it just loads them. Very simple. Now, some people, could you imagine that in the Bethesda community? People would freak.
Yeah. Well, they did. I've talked to a lot of mod authors who are, some are just like you about collections and whatnot. They're like, yeah, of course, completely natural. And others are like, no, I don't want people meshing my stuff up without any permissions, or just like even if they had my permission, I don't want them to touch it. I don't want them to be part of collection. So I mean, you got the range.
Yeah. Now, let me be very clear about Mod Sanctum's stance on collections. We do not believe in pigeonholing or forcing anybody into participating into some sort of collections thing. Mm-hmm. I believe that Nexus Mods handled that bad. What they should have done, and I know that you can totally do this from a programmer standpoint. I mean, I am a programmer. I know what I can do. And you can you can basically disable that part of the API for people based on a setting they choose in their account. Now, if it was a mod that is already in a collection, I can understand that you're not allowed to turn it off, maybe, right? But to force everyone to do the collections, that was a bad move, in my opinion, because you're forcing everyone to comply with a system where they cannot ever remove a file that they upload. And so I just believe that they could have done it in a way where you go to upload your mod and at that time you say, no, I don't want to participate in collections. And so it removes it from the query. People can no longer find that mod in the collections system. But if at any time that author decided to enable collections, that would be a permanent choice. Right? You can't go back on that. That mod now is a permanent part of the collections. You can't delete the files because they're right in that you can't break the collection. They're just trying to maintain the integrity of the collections.
Right.
That's the reason
a good mod collection is.
Yeah, it is good. Exactly. I mean, how good of a collection can it be if you're downloading it all in one group? Let's be honest. I mean, a real Bethesda modder has like 500 mods in their game, right?
Yeah. And there's only a few really good collections out there that actually patch and mod, and they're like, Zion. He's done Constellation, like huge mod loader, but he patches everything. He's a modder. He knows what the hell is going on.
I just think they could have handled it a little bit better.
Absolutely.
They could have handled it different. They could have maintained the integrity of the content rights for users and not pissed a lot of people off. But they did what they did. It is what it is. I understand their goal was they're focused on the downloader. They're focused on the downloader.
And that works.
My focus is on the uploader. My focus is on the mod author. I want this to be an ecosystem of tools that can help mod authors and possibly an on-ramp for better career opportunities, not paid mods. A lot of people, they mistake when I say career opportunities with paid mods. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about scholarships for mod authors. Kids that want to go to school to be a game developer. They get the bug or something, right? 18-year-old kid I would love to see Mod Sanctum grow to the point where we are giving away scholarships to try to put, talented mod authors through formal training. Yeah. Man, you know what I mean? Because that's where the love of creating games starts for a lot of people, is they buy a game, they start modding it, they get the bug to make their own mod, and man, the first time you do that and you see it in the game, you're done. You might as well start filling out applications to be a mod, a game developer.
It's funny you brought that up. Redot, he's the guy who currently runs Frost, and he got a job by showing his mod page for Frost, and it's a German company, and they were like, oh yeah, all about it, even though it's a different programming completely, but because it shows that you created a whole thing on your own, you develop,
absolutely, absolutely. That is so much credibility. People don't realize it. And I think that game developers are starting more and more and more to realize it. There's a natural animosity between a development studio and modders. Let's just clear the air there, right?
Yeah.
There is a natural animosity between developers and modders, but I think that it's changing over time because they're realizing that they're just the same. They're just talent, they're just talented people. And because you can't knock some of the mods that come out, quite frankly, especially when you see the scenario where, and we've all seen this before, the game studio's like, no, we wouldn't be able to add that. It would be too much development time and the engine doesn't support it and blah, blah, blah. And then the game releases and 3 weeks later, hey, we've added this to the game. Some modder figured it out, and it's just a tribute to human ingenuity.
And the more game developers hold on to that and bring it in like Bethesda, the more they benefit. So it's always been kind of a weird dichotomy of like pride that stopped a lot of companies, I think.
Yeah, I have my favorite saying right now: never underestimate the infinite willpower of a mildly inconvenienced developer. That's basically a modder, right? You find the smallest little thing in the game and you'll spend weeks reverse engineering half the game just to fix that item. That's totally ignorable. But, a modder will spend a lot of time to fix it. And that's why, in the end, the creativity is in the modding world, because it's where all the people are that are willing to do all of that work for free. It's purely out of the love of the game and the love of doing it. And so, that's hard to compete with when you're a developer at a development studio, a game studio, and you're there just to collect a check.
And that's another issue they have between mod authors and the company, is that the company wants to find a way to monetize some of that. And how
they do.
Yeah.
They do.
And how they do it is important.
Do. But I think they also get butthurt.
Sure. Yeah, it's that pride thing you were talking about too.
Yeah. What do you mean you're going to do? You mean that my game is not a masterpiece of perfection? What do you mean you need to change it? I'm sure you have that attitude a little bit, right, from some studios, but I think that they're maturing to the fact that modders and the modding community are a massive source of income for them. So if they embrace it, and it's also a massive source of talent for them, right?
Self-training pool right there.
Ignore the modding community at your peril, in a way.
What other company can just be like, okay, here's how we do things. Here's a program to learn it. You guys make videos about how to learn it, and you guys learn it and make stuff, and then we'll choose which one of you is the best at it. Like, it's Ender's Game. What company can actually do that? What other field is there that opportunity?
Well, here's an interesting story for you. They did a study. They took 1,000 people and they took a massive jar of jelly beans and they asked 1,000 people how many jelly beans are in the jar. No one was even close. However, if you took all of their answers, added them all up, and divided by 1,000, you were within 5 jelly beans of the answer. Isn't that fascinating? So collectively, we have the answer to a lot of problems. It's just a matter of aggregating that into something that's productive.
I wonder why they chose 1,000. What fractional equation did they use?
I'm not even sure if it was exactly 1,000. Right. It was an amount, right? But the premise is the same, right? They took a certain amount of people, asked them all that question, and no one was right on their own. But somehow it's like we are collectively the most powerful brain in the world. And we really are. I mean, look at the free market. Is actually the most powerful computer ever conceived. It's able to calculate the cost of goods across the entire planet in real time.
Yeah.
You would never have any computer that could possibly do that.
Well, yeah, but you could also get into manipulation of the market. But yeah, that's
sure. But ultimately, the free market it's a judgment on what things are worth. And so, but that's driven by human power. It's crowdsourcing. It's the old adage, two heads are better than one. And so when you present a gaming problem to a community of game developers, of course, they're going to do better than a small little office that developed the game, right? So you can't fault the game developers. They're just one small team versus millions of people that are playing their game possibly and tinkering with it. You know,
it's a perspective too, because they're looking at it as a puzzle to fix. The other ones are looking for, how do I fix this on time to make deadlines? You know, there's a different mentality that goes behind modding opposed to the paycheck.
Exactly. You have a set of tasks that you have been assigned to do that fills your day, right? Is creating this cohesive experience in the end. The modding community, they're the ones that are going to do the wacky stuff. You know, and create a gun that launches babies.
God, what was that video?
Well, it was a Fallout 4 mod. Somebody switched out the ammo from the nuke launcher with the baby model. So from the first person perspective, you'd shoot the gun and this baby is launching out of there.
Did it have the sound effect of wah, wah?
No, I think it cried. I think it was like wah. I can't remember that part. But yeah, I mean, you know, the developers aren't going to make that.
Yeah.
But that's why I love the modding community, really. You know, I love modded games because ultimately I've kind of lost confidence and faith in AAA games. You know, they're just rehashing the same stuff over and over again with a little bit better graphics and, you know, a little bit better this. Ooh, it's got DLSS 3.5.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, show me something new and creative. And so this is what's drawn me to Bethesda's games. Is the creativity and the fun is not in the hands of the developer anymore. It's in the hands of the community. And it's in your own hands in the mods that you choose to install.
Yeah.
Because some of them change the game so much that you're custom tailoring your experience. I'm more interested in that, quite honestly, anymore. Oh, man, AI. Don't get me started on AI. I love the AI, but I hate the AI.
I feel you completely. What aspects do you like of AI that would help in this field? Okay,
so let me start with what I don't like. And I'm going to do this because it is related to Mod Sanctum, and a lot of people have had questions about this. I'm not super fond of just allowing the mods that alter, or rather that copy a voice actor's voice. I'm still up in the air on that. Like I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, you know, because people are, you know, taking someone's likeness and using it without their permission and then uploading a mod. And so, you know, I think Nexus has taken the stance where they allow those mods, but then if one of the voice actors complains, then they will take it down. And I don't know. Perhaps that's the right strategy. I don't know.
It's a hard one.
I'll be honest. That's a tough one because I want to respect content. It's like you're torn between respecting two different content creators, right?
Yeah.
You on the one hand, you have to respect the original voice actor, but also on the other hand, you don't want to stifle creativity. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's a tough one to choose. But this is hopefully once I build Mod Sanctum and I set up the board, which is going to be essentially a board of gamers that represent each game we host. Hopefully this board, we can all collectively make decisions like that as a group, right? Instead of just one person saying this is the way it is. Maybe the community needs a little bit more input in how things are done. And so that's part of what I'm trying to do with Mod Sanctum also, is involve the community in a lot of these policy decisions.
Every time I've talked to AI with mod authors, it's always actually out of everything that I've ever asked people, that's kind of been one of the most polarizing, because a lot of people don't understand the people's privacy when they put their voice out there, people reusing it. They think, you know, not understand, but their perspective is it's the same as taking other people's codes, other people writing, and then adding on top of it.
And then you've got the layer of also of them possibly saying things that you don't approve of.
Right. Of course. And I think it's just that they don't quite understand that how personal the voice can be and detrimental in a way for a lot of people too.
Now, here's a way that I fully support AI. And that is you can train AI to create certain styles, okay? And I see a day where there's going to be an AI model that can generate lore-friendly textures, lore-friendly meshes, lore-friendly guns. Like, we're not far from that.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. We are not far from that. Having the ability for an AI model to just know what Starfield's theme is, right? Or know, here's a better one, Fallout, right? To know the Fallout,
aesthetic.
That whole aesthetic. What do they call that? They call it atom punk, right?
Yeah.
Is the term for that is atom punk, is the 50s punk style, right? It's really interesting, the different punk styles. You should look at it sometime. But anyway.
The punk scale?
Yeah, yeah. But it's not unconceivable that in the next few years, there's a model that is, or a plugin in Blender that can just generate, AI created meshes that are lore friendly.
Yeah. I've seen Blender models. I've seen AI making those. Not the meshes.
We're not far. At the rate it's going, it's not far. And so I think that would be a massively cool thing for modders, man. Could you imagine? I mean, you could just up and just create meshes.
Yeah.
But then there's the side of it of the guy that spent so much time learning how to make meshes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same with, that's the kind of the comments I would get too is, you're protective of the voiceover, the voice actors. But people behind the scenes, it's kind of like, well, where's their safety net? Like, well, great. We have meshes. We have new writing from ChatGPT. What about the writers? What about the mesh artists? What about the 3D artists? And I get it. It's like we kind of want to protect the things that we're personally into.
Here's the inevitable fact, though, of AI. Mm-hmm. It's not going anywhere.
No, that is the bottom line with this.
And it's basically embrace it and incorporate it into your current workflow. If you're an artist, capitalize on AI and train it on your own art style and crank out more art than anyone's ever been able to crank out in their life, right? Like utilize it for what it's meant to be utilized for. And because ultimately I've spent enough time on ChatGPT and some of these, Stable Diffusion and all of these different AI programs to know that if you are already good at something like writing and then you give it the right prompts, well, it's going to be better result than someone that doesn't know writing. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, so, I've played with that. I've played with like how to work ChatGPT to get a decent writing.
Yeah, and it's all in the prompt, right? And the people that have the most experience in the field are going to be able to make the better prompts. So an artist is going to be able to produce better AI-generated art, I think, as a rule, than someone who has no art experience. He's not going to know all the cool little tricks to put in to get that prompt, right? Like a true artist, he can put in, art styles and reference artists and all these different things because they're in the industry, right? That's how AI should be capitalized on right now. If you're in any industry that is being affected by AI, you should be immediately grabbing a hold of it and trying to figure out how you can utilize it to make yourself into a superhero in your industry.
Yeah, and we're just to clarify, we're not saying that because it's like a support of AI or support of how it's going, but it's just the fact of where it's going. That's
it's an inevitable force. Yeah. It's either do it or die, really.
Unless the government shuts it down, it's going to keep progressing. So like kind of the best thing to take from it is like, well, regardless, you try to use it the best you can, I know I'm 35 and it's even harder for me to adapt to it. 35, sorry,
here's
38.
The saving grace. Here's the saving grace. Okay. Here's the saving grace is that you can't copyright AI generated content. So in a way, that right there is a massive advantage for an artist or someone who knows how to do the meshes, because that's theirs. and they can show that it's theirs because they are an artist, but the guy that completely generated it only with AI, you can't technically use that as you can't copyright that. They already ruled on that. Now, here's the problem is, as AI gets better, how do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like it maybe needs a code embedded in it or something. I don't know.
They would have to do that. They would have to try to, regulate AI in such a way where, tools that are being marketed have to leave some kind of digital signature. It's really the only way out of that and all the deep fakes.
I mean, it's Pandora's box. It's freaking open. There's like,
it is.
Unfortunately, it's not like it's going to take over a profession like lawyers. It's just going to be, instead of regular lawyers, it's going to be lawyers who use AI. Those are going to be the people who are making it. Yeah.
And another thing that I would love to see AI do is help people write better code for games.
Yeah.
I use it all the time in programming right now.
Mm-hmm.
As I build this site, I've used it a lot since it came out. And it's a huge time saver, writing small snippets of code or functions or variables, stuff like that. You can do it very quickly with ChatGPT. But it's outdated, so it needs help, right? And so something that I've thought about doing for Mod Sanctum is to monitor the support section with AI and to give it all the data possible on Papyrus and on the games.
Oh, you should talk to KingGath. He's thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so when people are going to the site, they can type in something in, and AI knows the answers, right?
Yeah,
and can help you resolve problems with your code and do things for the community. So I'm very much wanting to get involved in that and try to work on creating a model that understands how initially the Bethesda games, right? But there's other games out there that use, Lua and other scripting languages. Mm-hmm. I think Cyberpunk uses Red Script, whatever that is.
They're proprietary, just like Papyrus, I think.
Yeah, some kind of proprietary scripting language that they're using. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. You say KingGath has been talking about this?
Yeah, the last time I interviewed him here, he was talking about, because we got on the same topic of AI, and he was saying it's right now, playing with it is a great way to kind of get the steps to teach someone, like so that you learn what questions and how to evolve the code. And he said, I would love to have, like for new modders or anything, just to have the Papyrus just get the model himself and just load it up with Papyrus scripts of what they do and how they function. So, you pop in a fetch quest and here's your Papyrus for it,
Yep, and there are a few out there that can do this, and I've been looking into this. You can technically, I could build my own bot API in with ChatGPT, and you just train it on your set of data. You train it on a massive database. There's ways that you can hook it up to your website, so it knows everything about your website. Mm-hmm. And so if you're feeding your website, say you did that, and it knows everything about your website, and it's able to still crawl new data in real time of anything that's uploaded or posted to your site. Mm. Okay. If you can accomplish that, well, now you've got a AI that's getting smarter by the day. Every single human generated post is more data for that AI, right? And so, you dump everything that is released from Bethesda. You compile as much data as you can and just keep dumping it into pages. I'd love to work with him on it.
Yeah. If
you talk to him, tell him to get a hold of me. He's on my friends list. I'd love to help him with it from a programming standpoint too, even, or a home to host it on.
Yeah, no, I think it's such a use, and not only that, for bug reports. If you have a bug report, AI collects it all, and then the mod author's like, God, I don't know what the hell this is. You type in, what Papyrus script, at this point would be loading or getting bogged down, or what pathway error. And it's like, well, these are your options, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And you're like, oh, okay, at least that gives me somewhere to look.
Yeah.
Because, not every mod author out there, me included, are whizzes with Papyrus. And so, like, we get something working, well, maybe we can get it cleaner if we can ask these questions and have some better framework or better ideas to how to get something accomplished inside the game.
Basically, you know, as AI improves and as people upload new content, and primarily, like when I'm doing programming, I'll put in a script and I'll just say, what does this do? And it'll outline exactly what that script does. It breaks down every single function. It breaks down all the calls, all of the triggers, any actions, any variables. You know what I mean? It literally dissects all the code and tells you exactly what it's going to do.
Mm. Oh,
that's really a great way to learn. Like if you think about it, like for a new modder, like if you're listening to this, do you want to learn how to use Papyrus? Even right now, you can take any modder's script, put it into ChatGPT, and it'll break it down. It has enough information on Papyrus right now, just based on the info that it has up to 2021, right? So it has a lot of data. It's just not perfect. You know, you're not going to have it write you a perfect script, but it can help you reverse engineer. It can help you understand more about what you're looking at. You know, that's a trick that a lot of programmers have been using, is we just put in a piece of code and it tells us what it's doing.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot easier trying to understand that than go to the forum and looking at the code links and languages for it, because you know, it's a whole nother language of trying to explain what code does in the first place.
It is, and it can think on a level that humans can't, you know, because it has so much data in its brain, and obviously the more data, the better, right? Mm-hmm. And so my theory is this is what I was going to do on Mod Sanctum, is I was going to launch a questions and answers area where you can go and ask a question, and experienced mod authors are motivated because of the reward system to go and answer those questions. Mm. Whoever gets the right answer gets a huge reward, but everybody else that gets thumbs up votes and stuff, you know, in the process of helping that person, they also get points and stuff. But over time, what would happen is that AI is sitting there learning all of that. And in another section, there would be a ask an expert area where you could ask AI the question. And who knows, sometimes AI may have the answer.
Or it'll give up possibilities of several different, like, check this, check that. You know, that's useful stuff to think about.
Yeah, but imagine eventually a questions and answers area where you ask the question and automatically the first answer is an AI bot that attempts to answer the question for you. Right?
Yeah.
But it may not be right all the time. Sometimes maybe it is right. Case closed.
Yeah, you just downvote it, right? You go, nope.
Yeah, if it's not right, you downvote it. Exactly. And that's when the AI is learning, right? It's even learning from a downvote.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that over time, AI is going to find its place everywhere, even in the modding community. It's in Photoshop already. So technically, it's already in the modding community as far as some of the big tools go.
Well, and yeah, I'm sure it's in ChatGPT scripts out there too already.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe not entirely. Hopefully not entirely, because that would be a rough script.
Oh, hey, having ChatGPT write you a bunch of dialogue?
Yeah.
Oh, man, people are doing that. Make no mistake. That's why that's why Hollywood is striking right now.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, as ChatGPT is writing all the dialogue, which is really pathetic. I mean, come on. You thought TV was bad before. You wait till it's all written by ChatGPT.
Yeah, it would look like the Rick and Morty cartoon whenever they're inside the the TV series that they watch sometimes, interdimensional cable. And it's just people riffing, basically, like random conversations.
Well, we're in a situation where most of the people that are taking over those positions, you know, writers and people that are writing, look at the life experience that they have. They grew up with a cell phone in their hand most of their life. Their whole social life has been either at school for a little bit, but mostly online, mostly on the internet. Now have them write a movie like The Breakfast Club.
Right.
They got no clue.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah, everybody would be tweeting from their phone, right? You'd have to have a split screen for the movie. It would have to be like a whole bunch of people, each in their own little square, right? Because none of them are actually together interacting.
I'm copywriting that idea now. the Tweeters Club, or the X Club. It would be the X Club now.
So that's what I think. That's why film has gone down the drain. Personally, I'm a Gen Xer, so you're talking to a guy who I was around before cell phones and before the internet and before all these things, and so now I get it though. I got a lot of family members that are young.
Sure. I mean, it's their reality, and it's going to become reality. I mean, it's just how the cycle works.
It is, but it's funny watching them try to write movies about real life experiences when they don't have any.
Right. Or, I mean, I guess that their experiences would be a little more, not ethereal, but like more in tune, more digital. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they have experiences. Actually, I know they have experiences by some of those videos they create, the Skiddity Bop, or what the hell is that cartoon, where they took basically Gary's Mod and had like toilets versus the G-Men. Like there's a level of creativity.
They have become geniuses at the internet world.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't mess with the Gen Z and that crowd when it comes to understanding virality of videos, right? Like how to work Twitter and how to work TikTok and how to make things go viral, right? Like nobody understands the
algorithm, really.
The algorithms, yeah, like they do, and I spent a good part of my life studying that world for business purposes, for marketing purposes, marketing businesses for professional reasons. And it's a very difficult world, but then you get, an 11-year-old kid that he can pull millions of subscribers in a matter of.
Yeah. And that's where the generation war started. Well, I went to school for this. How did he do this?
Well, and it's changed. It used to be all about clicks. Mm-hmm. Now it's about time on page.
Engagement.
That's what we call it. Time on page. Engagement. How much engagement, right? And so now you've got these streamers. Look at the XQC or whatever. Mm-hmm. Dude, $100 million contract with Kick.
Yep. Yeah.
That is
when
insane.
It rains, it pours, good or bad.
I mean, that is nuts. That's more than any NBA star, football star. Like that really is monumental money right there.
Yeah.
$100 million, but look what he's accomplished. This dude's got the attention of millions of people for 8 hours a day.
Straight up advertisement chances for people and companies, that's exactly why YouTube, the people hire the YouTubers themselves instead of putting commercials in between. Just be like, hey, you represent this play. It's like having an NBA star going, hey, I want Subway sandwiches. It's Go Fresh and Raid Battle Legends or whatever the hell commercial you get from them.
And that's why I'm hoping that the YouTubers will find Mod Sanctum. Mm-hmm. And when we get mods on there, they're going to be a huge part of our success, really, is the YouTubers and doing what they do.
On that, we should say, how do people who want to help with Mod Sanctum?
Come to Discord initially.
Okay, I'll put links down below.
You can also go to modsanctum.org. Okay. Now, understand it's like an early access game. It's not optimized yet, so it's slower than I would prefer. But you can go there. You can sign up. You can make an account. You can participate right now if you want. On there, I've got some forms for volunteering. If you want to volunteer and get involved, then there's a way to do that on the site. Or you can just hit me up in Discord as well. People prefer that. That's cool too.
Yeah, I had someone from my own little community, XR Dev. He, I believe, is wanting to join up with Mod Sanctum because he has an idea for like a web space. I can't believe I remember the name of the exact. It's not web space. It's something more in depth. But he wanted to create a place for modders, really. And so we brought up this idea, or I should say Flashy Joe brought up Mod Sanctum. And he was like, oh, maybe I should join up with him. because he's
have him hit me up.
Developer. And I was like, yeah, it sounds like a good way to start if it's in the same line you're thinking of, or maybe it can even be a part of Mod Sanctum.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for anybody that wants to participate because, like I said, our goal is to create an ecosystem of all the different tools that one would need to mod. You know, a learning app, you know, learning center, a mod upload center, a career center, and any other tools that are online tools that people would use to help organize, you know, like you got loot, right? Somebody created loot at some point. So people, I want to inspire that and help get involved in that. And, you know, Mod Sanctum at some point, because we're a nonprofit organization, well, we're kind of both. We're a for-profit and nonprofit. Okay, I want to be very clear. Part of this is for-profit. Part of it is nonprofit. The site is owned by Mod Sanctum. That's for-profit. However, TIME, the nonprofit organization that we've got right now, and this is probably going to change around a little bit, but Mod Sanctum, the nonprofit, is going to own a large portion of the for-profit entity. Mm-hmm. And all of that money that it earns through its ownership part will automatically go towards the nonprofit goals. Mm-hmm. Okay. And any money that's donated to the site through a donation also automatically goes to the nonprofit. However, subscriptions, those are a for-profit transaction.
And
right?
Is that taking care of the servers and whatnot like that?
Yeah, that's to take care of the servers and potentially hire staff and all those things. But I wanted the nonprofit to have an ownership stake in it, mm-hmm. where it was constantly getting money from that also, right? So Mod Sanctum, the for-profit entity, will be constantly donating a large portion of the profits to the nonprofit organization. And that's where I'm hoping to hire game developers that can teach people how to make games, basically, right? You know, who better to teach people how to mod a game than a developer?
Right.
A formerly trained dev, that maybe one that even worked on the game. I don't know. That probably would be a conflict of interest. But, you know, I mean, if you were to say, teach people how to create a game with Unreal Engine 5, well, they could probably mod any game that's moddable with Unreal Engine 5 now, wouldn't they? Right? Mm-hmm. So like you teach the engine and it unlocks the ability to mod all of the games. You know, I can mod Oblivion or Fallout 4 or Skyrim or whatever because it's all the same engine, right?
Right. I mean, if it was that way, not all the separate engines, there is like Creation Kit and
yeah, it's the same concept though. Yeah. I can move from one to the other and I'm going to pretty much get it right away. I'm going to understand the mechanics of it. It's, you know, it's essentially the same setup, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, the newer one, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be much more updated. It's got a planet generator in it, I guess, right?
Well, and you know,
that'll be kind of cool.
Totally off the side project, but I just saw this woman, she flew through the sun in the thing, and it's a 3D model with actual animations of the fire, like arcing and looping around. So at some point, they made all these 3D model planets, like thinking it seems like people would be flying around them. So they changed it, but it's still all in the game. So it's not like GIFs in the background. They're actual 3D models.
Well, you remember, see Arthmore. He's part of this little group. He's on Mod Sanctum right now. He's been helping me test. He's a great mod author. He's the one that made Open Cities.
Oh, nice.
For Skyrim, remember?
Yeah, I actually just brought that up in my last video.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was him. It's on my site, and I'm pretty sure that it was Arthmore.
Yeah, it was Arthmore. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, if you think about the ships in Starfield, it's kind of the same thing, mm-hmm. right? Like you would go to a city and then you would load into the gates and you would be in the city, but you could technically still see everything out of the city. Right. And before you go in the city, you could technically see everything in the city. It's just that there was a loading screen process between them. Mm-hmm. Right. And he removed that.
Yeah. And that's the same with Atlantis, I was thinking, because Atlantis has the elevators. But the whole thing is loaded up. You can go past the elevators and never have a load screen.
Exactly. So I was thinking to myself, why wouldn't you be able to just walk in your ship, sit down, and take off with no loading screen?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to have a loading screen to get into my ship?
Yeah, that one makes no sense unless they originally had the plan of you leaving the ship into 0G. So if you go through the hatch and you're in space, then I could understand that hatch being, once you're past that, the 0G comes in. Right?
Yes.
That's the activator.
Because then you're a different set of physics, right?
Yeah.
And because you have a different set of physics, suddenly, meaning the gravity primarily, right?
Mm-hmm.
It requires a different loading screen for them.
So that's why I thought it may have been a reason for
that. It could be absolutely. But I'm really excited to see what's going to come out for Starfield.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun.
I'm absolutely going to catch you up and probably next week or something, an interview about Starfield.
Yeah, let's talk again. Anytime, man.
Awesome.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, me too. It was easy talking to you, Worsin. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anytime. I'm
going to make a Mod Sanctum right now. I've checked it out, but I haven't made an account.
Yeah. Go make an account. Like you said, it's got some problems. I'm a one-man show right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have plans. I'm trying to have it launched and ready before the kits are all available. So when the real mods start coming out, and I'm not saying real mod, I should rephrase. The mods that have come out so far, they are amazing, first and foremost. So I really misspoke there because I can't believe what's coming out with no toolkits.
I absolutely can't believe the first day I'm like, there's 100 mods. It hasn't even really launched.
Yeah, but what I was really meaning to say by real mods is the ESP files, right? The ones that are total game changers that change all the different aspects of the game, right? I can't wait for those to come out
too, right? You need that SK, or did you use Xedit?
Originally I used Xedit.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, originally I used Xedit for all of them. I didn't need to use the creation kit a lot because I wasn't placing objects around the world. I wasn't building quests. The creation kit, to me, the main strengths are, say, take Fallout, for example. Its strengths are going to be if you're working with terminal, if you're placing anything in the world anywhere, if you're working with the references, right? You're referencing from one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Like you're creating and stuff like that.
Keyword references, that sort of thing. Sometimes those are much easier, but I find that Xedit most of the time for a majority of the mods is just more efficient.
It's faster. It's downright faster, and I hope CK2 is taking notes on that one.
Yeah, and the fact that I can bulk edit. I mean, a mod like Whipbag, my power armor mod, or any of my paint mods. Holy cow, if I wasn't able to bulk edit, those would have taken forever to make in the CK.
Yeah, I got to use Xedit more. I've just been in the CK because I deal with dialogue. That's what I do on Sim Settlements, is I deal with quest and dialogue.
Gotcha. That's my weakness, is quests and dialogue. I haven't gotten that much into that, so maybe we can collaborate together a little bit.
Hey, I love it. That's what I'm all about. That's what I'm making. As soon as CK drops, I'm going to be working on a companion mod because they need it.
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? You know what? I'll tell you, just a preview of our next conversation. My goal is going to be, I think, to make a whole solar system. I want to make a solar system with quest line.
Yeah.
And a faction, like a real substantial, like this whole solar system. There's this, maybe it's a kind of a guy like Hope. I don't know if you've been too far in the story yet.
Yeah. No. You mean Shio Gorath. It's the same voice actor.
Yeah, something that's like, because I want to make ship parts, right? I want to expand on that. I wouldn't mind expanding on the armor. I think that even though there's no power armor, I think that the spacesuits could be specialized. Yeah. Think about it, a sniper spacesuit, right? That has some sniper traits, more sniper traits. The ability to craft guns, for sure. That shit's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Most of these I'm not going to have to make, right? Yeah. Like, the ones that are pretty obvious. Somebody's going to make one probably before me. The guy that does ECO, I'm sure he's going to do an amazing, mod similar to ECO for Starfield, where you can craft from anywhere and drop a bench down and, stuff like that. Yeah, make a camp somewhere. But it's going to be fun to see all the different content that's made for Starfield. I think it's going to do better than Skyrim.
I think so too. I mean, there's so many space heads out there that have been waiting for an opportunity to have something to mod on top of. I mean, all they had before was X4 Foundations, which, I love, but it's not this type of game.
I like that game.
I
play X4 Foundations.
Yeah, I've played X3, and I've just always I like that company a lot. They're good to their community.
Did you ever play the Lit Cube X3 Lit Cube mod?
Oh, which one is it? Titles are bad with me. What does it
do? His name is Lit Cube, and it's it converts the whole universe of X3. And he just refines everything in it and makes it so much better.
Oh no, I haven't checked it out.
He makes it to where you can actually take over sectors and conquer the whole universe.
No, he smoothed it out. Yeah, X3 was the biggest learning curve of my life, but it paid off.
Yeah, it wasn't that a good game. And X4 has scratched that itch a little bit.
It has, and I'm happy there is modders doing the overhaul that to give you the only Star Wars experience like that you can play around in.
Hey, you can't really match the scale.
No.
Of that game. As far as a game where you can conquer a universe, that's really the best 4X conquer the universe experience.
Yeah, and the ship sizes, I've never been able to have that capital ship experience anywhere else. Of just driving a monster.
They do need to expand on it, though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If I was them, I would be adding real functionality to inside the ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with the elevator system. I get that they aren't set up to where you can just free roam a huge ship, right? But at least with the elevator system, give me rooms that have functionality in them that I can benefit from.
Yeah, they have hard press for 3D first person stuff. They're trying their best, but it's God, guys, you need to hire another source.
If you think Starfield is painful, just go to X4, right?
Oh, yeah, walking around there is a nightmare. But at the same token, you just have to bypass it because the rest of the space and all that, it's really enjoyable, and it scratches something that no other game can do. But it's so hard to look around at those 3D models. I was what?
I had, and it's really buggy too. I made a universe in X4 and I loaded it up, and I swear everyone was black. The whole universe was black. It was hilarious. I was like, man, which is fun. I don't care. It didn't bother me. But I thought it was hilarious, a hilarious bug. I was like, man, it must have been a white apocalypse.
They finally took us over.
They finally took us over.
This cool thing, though, I do like about the Egosoft, they've gotten rid of every non-open source thing. So they use Blender now. They switched over to Blender.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, they're just tired of having these third-party companies go out of business or, just disappear or not update their code. So they're it's such a waste of time for us to keep going back. So they're we just want open source.
Blender's the future, man. Blender's the future. Open source is the future.
Yeah.
Open source and Blender. I'm a huge proponent of those.
And Blender has gone so much better. Yeah, it's just
they have, and that's what I've been learning for modding. I didn't do a lot of new meshes in any of my mods that I released, but behind the scenes, I was making a furniture and clutter mod. I have these custom workbenches that you can create and snap them together. They're all snappable, right? You can create massive U-shaped workbenches, and then you can snap on top of the bench all of the different benches that you want, and they all work, right? I got really into working with Blender, and I'm going to be getting into it more. I'm going to be getting more into the mesh making I think, because I really do want to make more ship parts.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be something you see a lot of.
Yeah, they made this for modders. They really did. The modularity of these ships, the designs, and like everything in there, it screamed to me. It's like, God, this is really, they weren't kidding. This is for modders.
You're going to see more interiors. You're going to see more structural parts. I'm going to be making a lot of more structural parts. Right, just so you can get different looks.
Yeah, like the housing is a little strange. It's like, why is there no just normal walls for like breathable planets?
Yeah, like I want a structural part that is an X. Basically, it's just one single piece that's an X, but it has mounting points on each part of the X. So you can create an X-wing fighter.
Oh, there you go.
Baby.
It's going to happen. I'm actually surprised I haven't seen the Millennium Falcon in yet.
All right, well, I'm going to get on my Harley and go for a ride.